So welcome everybody. My name's Tim Schur. You are attending the One Final Mission seminar. I am glad that you are here. So we are talking about using the power of our mind to create our life by design. And I've spent 34 years figuring out how to get control of this mind of ours, our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors and our habits so that we can live our best life instead of being held back because of experiences that a lot of people go through, right? I call them big T and little t traumas. We all go through experiences in life that can be upsetting or that can fill our minds with a bunch of ideas that end up sabotaging our self-confidence, our ability to make good decisions, our ability to stay laser focused and follow through on high priority activities because of fear, insecurity, imposter syndrome, or we will find that we're just generally going through life not feeling peaceful or not feeling present or not feeling settled, right? Like there's always something wrong. There's always something safe, or there's always something that makes me feel unsafe. And so just because of my line of work of helping people, people come to me because they usually feel stuck when it comes to achieving a goal. When I'm doing individual coaching, and so whether it's weight loss or they want to break a bad habit or they are struggling with some kind of anxiety and they want to know, how do I get through this? I'm smart, I'm talented, I've been successful in different areas of my life. And yet when it comes to this one particular issue, I always feel stuck. I always feel blocked in some way. I've tried therapy. I've gone to seminars. I've read the books. I've even, my doctor has given me medication, and I still don't feel the way that I want to. I still don't feel that sense of ease inside. And so I wanted to figure out how to help people with that because of my own anxieties and worries over the years of, we've all had bad experiences that we've gone through, and some of them are just embarrassing and humiliating. And other times they, are heartbreaking and abusive. And so what do you do in those situations? How do you break free? And so what I discovered after this long journey of trying to figure out how to break free from insecurity, how to feel inner peace, how to create abundance, how to have a life that you really enjoy living. I mean, it's so cliche to say that these days because there's so many internet marketers out there now that are using those exact words to sell us something that's not going to really do anything for us, right? Some quick fix, some new thing, some new fad that's going to change your life forever. And you don't have to do anything, and I have found that just creates more frustration for people because we get our hopes up. We hope this is going to be the thing. And then it's just one more letdown, one more frustration. Or even if we're feeling good, you go to a seminar for 4 days, you're jumping up and down, you listen to the music, you're doing crazy experiences, you're walking on fire, or, breaking boards, stuff like that. And then you're at home for about a week, and all of a sudden you find yourself slipping right back into the same old habits that you were doing before the seminars. Why is that? Well, it turns out it's because our brain is always creating meaning out of everything. And it's always trying to understand, what does this mean? And what does this mean? And how does it relate to my safety? And how does it relate to me being okay? And when we're little, most of that programming is formed, right? Researchers say that by the time we're between 8 and 12 years old, we pretty much have our life scripts. We pretty much have our global beliefs about, who am I? Who are others? What kind of world do we live in? We have different metaphors to describe the kind of life that we live. People say that, life is a school. And so it's all about learning. Other people will say life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Some people say life is an adventure, right? Or life is a daydream. Some people will say life's a bitch and then you die, right? Life's a cruel place. And so if you have a belief that life is generally good and exciting, then you're going to pay attention to information that's around you, and it's going to help you feel like life is exciting and there are always opportunities around you. However, if you have this belief in your mind that you're unsafe and life can hurt you and you can't trust people, then it's going to cause you to pay attention to different situations, different information that will cause you to constantly feel unsafe. Now, the challenge for all of us is that those beliefs are formed when we're kids without our permission in our unconscious mind, which means that often we don't know that those beliefs are directing our decision making. We don't realize that those beliefs are influencing what's going on as an adult, right? Yeah, I had stuff that happened to me as a kid. What's that have to do with me not being able to get that promotion? You know, what's that have to do with me being in a divorce? What's that have to do with, not being able to get my kids to listen to me? What's it have to do with my insomnia? Or what's it have to do with, me being 50 pounds overweight, right? And so people often don't connect the dots, and we're not really, we don't talk about that much unconscious beliefs, unless of course you go to school for psychology and you study psychoanalysis and Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung and all these guys that talked about your unconscious beliefs and your unconscious drives. Most people don't do that, right? They don't even know who Sigmund Freud is unless they think of that strange guy with the white beard and the cigar. But most people don't know any of that stuff, but I do, because I went to school and learned those, the theories and the strategies and the counseling processes, and it was useful, but it still didn't help me figure out how to get rid of my anxiety. Because what if you do have these beliefs? Then what? What if you know that you're holding yourself back? What if you know that you're struggling with imposter syndrome? What if you know that your inability to be a keynote speaker or get in front of groups and speak is holding you back? You know that. What if you are a veteran and you have been overseas and you know that you've been through experiences that now you come back and it's messing with you, and you know that, right? What do you do about it? And that's the question I always had, because having more information and knowledge does not change behavior. It doesn't change anything. We all know that an apple a day is what keeps the doctor away, but we'll still reach for that candy bar when we're stressed out. So logic and having more information and trying to just tough it out, we a lot of times just try to tough it out. So if you're a high performer, then you're like, well, I'm just going to work harder. If you have been trained to have a military mindset, then you're just I got that tough guy mentality or that tough woman mentality, right? And so I'm just going to, rub some dirt in it and charge forward. And that can only take you so far, because what happens is it just burns us out more until we just don't have anything left to fight the worry, the constant anxiety, all the stress that we're constantly being exposed to. So my question was always, well, what then? What do you do then? And so over the years, I was, I don't want to say lucky enough, because I worked my butt off to build a really thriving practice where I was seeing up to 60 clients a week. I mean, I would schedule client sessions every 20 minutes. I had a very different approach than traditional therapists would have, where I would schedule people at 10 a.m. and 10:20 a.m. and 10:40 a.m. And then I would have 3 treatment rooms, and I would go in there, and I was running a large hypnosis practice. And so, because hypnosis is just the study of your unconscious mind and how to retrain your unconscious mind. And it made sense to me that if your beliefs and your biases are stored in your unconscious mind, that's where you should go find them and upgrade them. And so, and hypnosis helps you do it immediately instead of taking 10 years through free association and personality assessments and, all these other ways of going about it. I found that it was just a lot faster going right to the source. And so I would schedule clients every 20 minutes, and I would go in there and I would ask the client, what is it that you want to accomplish today? And what do you feel is holding you back, and figure out what they thought the challenge was. And then I would get them into a relaxed state and have them listen to a little bit of an audio program to get them relaxed. And then I would go into the next session and do the same thing with that person and get them relaxed. And while they're relaxing, I go back in the first room and I'd actually do the intervention with them, and then bring them out of the hypnosis. And then they would check out with my assistant. And then I would get the next person in, and then I would go into session room 2. And so I was going from room to room to room. And I would do that from 10 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. And when you do that for a couple of decades, that's how you see 15,000 clients, which I've seen way more than that now. But One of the reasons why I became one of the top hypnotists and coaches in the world is because of the number of people that I've actually worked with and the sessions that I've done. So I've worked with over 5,000 individual clients and I don't know, over 100,000, people in groups and audiences. I've done hundreds of groups as well. And so that's all I do. This is my hobby. It's my passion. And it's what I do for a living all in one. And so I'm a little obsessed with you and me and human behavior and finding ways to have inner peace and getting rid of needless emotional suffering. So I discovered really quickly how to figure out what was going on with people and then how to create an intervention and how to create a shift that is measurable, that was sustainable, that would last, that would allow people to have these amazing breakthroughs and insights and shifts. And what I kept doing is realizing that it's the beliefs that were formed as you went through those upsetting experiences. That's what's messing with you. So I heard someone say, I think it was Wayne Dyer, the late, great Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he said, when you get bit by a rattlesnake, ow, that hurts, right? You ever been bit by a snake? It hurts. I haven't been bit by a snake, but I'm imagining, right? I've been bit by a dog. That hurt too. You get bit by a snake, right? A poisonous snake. The bite really hurts, but the bite doesn't kill you. It's the venom that's left inside that paralyzes us. And we have to get the venom out. Well, the beliefs are like venom. If we have beliefs that form in our mind that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I won't be loved, I have to chase everybody's approval and that validation so that I can feel like I'm good enough. If I have a global belief that I'm not safe, that you can't trust people, right, that I'm going to be abandoned, then it is going to cause you to filter the world in a way that makes you come from a place of scarcity. It'll cause you to chase what you want rather than attract it. And, if you chase someone, they run. So if you chase money, if you chase success, if you chase approval, if you chase love, it just keeps eluding you. We have to draw it to us, right? So we have to get the poison out. And unfortunately, what happens is when we have our poison and we have our pain, we keep it inside. We push it down. We layer it with defense mechanisms and coping strategies and dysfunctional ways of dealing with it to try to get rid of the symptoms. So we eat, we drink, we smoke, we take pills, we watch TV, people do porn, they spend too much money on shopping and running up credit card debt. They have affairs, people do all kinds of stuff to try to get rid of those horrible feelings of insecurity, to try to get rid of the poison, but they're never getting the poison out. They're just shoving it down deeper until eventually it comes out as health problems and health challenges, autoimmune challenges that people have, migraines and chronic fatigue and extra weight and all the stuff that we end up going through because our body is filled with cortisol and inflammation. So our job is to get the poison out. And that's what I kept trying to figure out. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? There's so many techniques out there, and I have that kind of a analytical, skeptical, prove it to me. I want to see, show me the results, right? I don't want to just take your word for it. And I never want you to just take my word for it. I want you to test these ideas out and put them to the test and then make your own decision. I just want to give you some of my insights and some of the things that I've learned over the years. And then I'm going to take you through an experience tonight that's going to be very empowering so that you are getting a lot more than just listening to me talk, right? You're going to get some really powerful experience from this tonight. And then after that, I'm going to share with you on August 11th, I'm going to take whoever wants to come with. We're going to go through one final mission, right? Which is to get the poison out, to get those beliefs out once and for all, to upgrade the deepest fears that we have that rob us of our inner peace and the success and happiness and prosperity and abundance that we all can have. And then release those toxic emotions, guilt, anger, shame, rage, resentment, pity, self-pity, that life's so unfair and we go through life feeling sorry for ourselves and being angry all the time, but not really ever doing anything to change it. Self-pity is very devious because it makes us feel like we're a victim and nobody cares about us. And then it causes us to behave in a way where we'll never get the peace that we're looking for. And so I had that one deep for a long time, and I had to get rid of that stuff. And so it releases that and then gives you a new set of tools and resources, an awesome set of power tools that you can use so that you don't relapse back into those old behaviors anymore. It incredibly increases your self-awareness, your emotional intelligence, your ability to communicate with yourself and with others in a way that starts to make life very exciting. You know, as my buddy Joe Vitale always says, that everything is possible and life is full of miracles. And it's just about tuning into those miracles. They're already in your life. They're already right in front of you. You just won't see them, right? Because we have filters, and our big breakthrough and that big miracle and that big opportunity is right there that you're always complaining you never have. It's right here, right? The words nowhere and now here are the same letters. It's just where you put your attention. Nowhere, 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 or now here, same letters. You know, some of you will be writing it down. You know, it's just where you put the space, right? And so when you have that belief and you suddenly upgrade it, oh, there it is. You know, there's that opportunity, there's that blessing, there's that whatever it is that you've been wanting more of. And that gives you a sense of self-belief. It gives you a sense of courage. It gives you a sense of confidence. And suddenly you start thinking to yourself, you know what? I am worthy. I am more than enough. I can do what I put my mind to. I am a lucky person. And I've been holding back, and now I'm going to go forward and I'm going to dream bigger. And I'm going to stop playing to lose, not to lose. You know, that's what I realized I was doing for so much of my life. I was playing not to lose. I was always hedging my bets, right? Well, if this doesn't work out, I'll do this. I don't want to get my expectations too high, because that's when you get disappointed, or that's when people let you down, right? All those old stories that come from scarcity and fear. So instead, we start saying, you know, I'm lucky and I can do this, and I'm, you know, prosperity flows into my life from all directions, and I'm going to play bigger. I'm going to play to win. I'm going to play to win and feel good and give more of my value and more of myself. For a long time, I used to be afraid to show up and give the best that I had, because I was afraid that, well, people are just going to take it and leave me, right? There's a limiting belief. People are just going to rip me off. There's a limiting belief. I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. There's a limiting belief, right? And so that fear that people were going to rip me off or hurt me in some way, because I was hurt so many times in so many ways growing up, that I just was always expecting that I was going to get hurt, right? And so I always had my guards up. And the problem with having your guards up is that you put this wall up to protect you, but it imprisons you as well. So let me share a quick story with you. There was this town, and it was rivaling this other town. These two towns were always competing with one another. And so one day in the middle of the night, one of the towns took the other town over. And then they took anybody that could fight, men, women, kids, anybody that could fight, and they put them in these horrible makeshift prisons. So now these people are in these prisons, and they're just basically on the ground in the cold, freezing, starving, thirsty, just a bad situation. And one of the elders got some other elders together in the town that had been taken over. And they said, we need to do something about this. We need to find a way to bring some comfort to our citizens that are suffering right now. And so one of the elders said, I have an idea. So he went and he found one of the guards and he bribed him. He said, listen, I've got this mill and it has all kinds of grain and I make bread out of it and you can have it. Just give our people something to eat. Let me give them some bread so that they're not starving. They're chewing on rocks. And the guard said, okay. So now that good person, that philanthropist, that elder of the community gave them bread. And now they were eating that bread in those horrible prisons and they felt a little bit better. Well, another one of the elders said, well, I want in on this. And so went up to the guards and said, hey, I have these wells and they're full of water. Take them. But just let our people have something to drink because they're dehydrated and they have nothing and they need some water to drink. And so the guard said, okay. And so they then gave water to everybody. And now people were drinking that water and eating their bread and feeling a little more comfortable in their prisons. Well, the third elder said, well, I want in on this too. This makes me feel good. I want to help. And so he went up to the guard and he said, hey, he said, I've got this textile mill and you can take it, but just let me give some blankets to our people because they're freezing and they're laying on the cold ground and they need to be warm. So the guard said, okay. So then all of a sudden they gave people these blankets and now they felt more comfortable in their prisons. Well, the fourth elder, she was like, we've got to do something better than this. This isn't right. This isn't enough, right? We're not playing to win. We're playing not to lose. This isn't good enough. This isn't right. So she waited, and in the middle of the night, she walked up to one of the guards, the greediest one, and said, I got a whole bunch of money. She said, I'll give it to you if you give me the keys to the prison. No one will know that you did it. And the greedy guard said, okay, gave her a key. And that night, in the middle of the night, she opened up all those locks. She opened those doors and she set her people free. Because the goal in life is not to try to figure out how to get scraps and how to become comfortable in our mental prisons, but to realize that we have the keys to set ourselves free. Now, that can be very inspiring, right? But then I had this really scary thought. What if you open the prison doors and they won't come out? Have you been in a situation like that? Have you ever felt like you were in a prison, a mental prison of some kind, and the door felt like it opened up and you were afraid to come out? What if it gets worse? You know, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. What if I try this new thing and it doesn't work and then I look stupid and I look like an idiot? You know, then I'll be humiliated and embarrassed. Or you'll just be where you are right now and who cares, right? The people who are crazy enough to think that they can pull something new off are the ones who do it. You cannot play it safe and win. Lao Tzu once said that you have to leave the base of the tree. You can only find the root or the fruit out on the limbs. If you want the fruit, you got to go out on a limb, which means you got to leave the safety of the base. And people call those bases, they call them our comfort zones. But they're not comfortable. They're just familiar. Because they're familiar, they somehow feel safe. But people can have some really poor coping strategies, some terrible relationship habits. But because they're so used to it, they don't want to change because it feels familiar. And that in some way feels safe. And it feels scarier to go out and do something different. So what I'm suggesting is that we open up those doors and we come out of those mental prisons together. And that's why I call One Final Mission. Now, this program I put together for veterans because veterans are people who go out there, they put it on the line, they put their life on the line, and they go into active combat. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them go out there and are in really, they're in harm's way. And they're out there on purpose, protecting our country, protecting the person on the left and the right of them. And they come home and they have experienced trauma. And no matter how tough and no matter how powerful and no matter how well trained you are, the human brain can only handle so much trauma, so much uncertainty, so much life and death situations. And then, so you have that. And then the second part of it is if you are injured, it changes you when all of a sudden you have TBI or you lose a limb or you are, you look different than you did before. And so now you've got to cope with that reality. Or you lost friends, you lost people, and now you've got to deal with that reality and the survivor's guilt and the remorse. I know so many people that even when they're out and they're retired and we have to go somewhere, if they send troops to Ukraine, there's going to be a lot of veterans that are feeling guilty that they're at home. They should be out there protecting their brothers and sisters. So you got to deal with that. And then, of course, a lot of times to beat evil, you have to get in touch with some of your own. And so you've got to do the job. And then you come home when the dust settles and all of a sudden you start thinking about all that stuff that you had to do. And, it could have even been exciting at the time, but then you come home afterwards and the memories start coming up and all the other stuff starts coming up. And now all of a sudden, now we're dealing with our own demons. And how do you deal with that? And the VA does a very poor job of helping people to shift that. The good news is that we figured out a way, right? And I call it this one belief away method because I believe you're truly one belief away from having a significant, sustainable breakthrough. And the breakthroughs happen fast because these experiences, you give me 4 hours with you, and I usually spread it out over 4 weeks, but you give me 4 hours and I will transform your life because I know exactly what to do now. Since I've worked with so many different people, so many different personality types from all over the world. And I find that us humans have the same basic hardware and software, right? The details of our experiences and where we grow up, our cultures and backgrounds and all that might be different. However, how we process the world is the same. Our brain, our nervous system, and how our unconscious beliefs work. And so I have figured out how to create these shifts. And that's why I invited everybody to come to this. Now, this is our third seminar. You might have come to 1 or 2 of them before, or this is maybe your first time. Welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. And so we've done 2 other seminars, and each one I took you through a different experience. Each one very effective, very powerful, that gives you a breakthrough right then and there. So if you haven't watched those webinar replays, make sure you do, because they're awesome. And it's like getting, thousands of dollars of free coaching every time you go through one of those programs. And we put 3 of them together because I wanted you to already feel prepared and hit the ground running by the time we actually do the one final mission seminar, which is my core 4, the core 4 experiences that transform people. So anyway, so I'll tell you a little bit about that and how you can roll. I'll put the link in the chat. And if you want to enroll in that, it's going to be on August 11th. And we're going to go once a week for 4 weeks in a row in a group format like this. And it's going to be awesome because I'm going to be able to get into that mind of yours, take you through these experiences, and then give you a whole bunch of audio programs and reinforcement programs. There is nothing out there like this. There just isn't, because I've been out there doing the seminars and doing the groups and facilitating those groups, and we're walking on fire and we're breaking boards and we're busting arrows with our throat and we're climbing up telephone poles and we're having control dramas and we're doing primal screams out in the woods and we're beating on pillows and, you name the experience, and I've been through it. If you've ever been through Landmark or any of that stuff, I've gone through all of these programs, and I have because if you're like me, I'm a high achiever and I wanted to figure out, how do I live my best life? How do I get rid of this anxiety? How do I take it to the next level? And so I've been through those, and I would feel awesome for about a week. I would find myself slipping back again into those old insecurities and those old worries and frustrations. And I'm like, how is this possible? It's not even fair. Right? Poor me. And so, and then I uncovered this stuff. And what I'll tell you is that if you have devoted your life to all this personal development, it's still valuable. You've still acquired an amazing set of tools, but you probably never got to the deepest core level of what's going on. And this program will help you do that. And then everything else that you've done will all of a sudden work for you at a whole other level. So it's all good. It was all worthwhile. All your training counts. This just allows you to unleash it at a higher level, because we're finally getting to the deepest root of what's going on and pulling that weed out at the root instead of cutting the top off of it with enthusiasm, right? We're really getting to the root. And I feel like that is what creates the sustainable breakthroughs. And so this process is changing the game for people. We started doing one belief away hypnosis certifications, so I can teach other people how to do this. We're building an army of healers so that we can help more people get through this age of anxiety that we are in right now. And I mean, it is amazing. It makes you feel like you're a miracle worker. My friend Roger Harris works 20 something years, 30 years for the fire department. And he said, what looks like a miracle to you and me is just another day at the office for Tim. And I always thought that was awesome. So anyway, So I'm going to invite a couple of my close, dear friends, Bethany and Joshua Kempf, with us. And I'm going to have them share a little bit of their story. If you've been with us before, you've met them. If you haven't, Josh, Sergeant First Class, Captain America, Josh Kempf, he did 2 tours in Iraq. And, just awesome guy, tough guy, and when you see those movies of all those trucks flying through those towns, in Iraq after 9/11, Josh was in there, leading the charge. And so he had a lot of experiences and then came back with a lot of PTSD that he toughed through for a long time. And, but it was difficult. And then Bethany represents the spouses. Right. She was at home leading the charge, feeding the troops, rallying the community and leading a lot of groups to support veterans. And she said something that really hit home that I'll never forget. She said, the veterans usually get all the attention because of what they've been through, and deservedly so. But we kind of get left on the sidelines. We're just supposed to be a support system, even though we're taking care of the family. We are, wondering if we're going to be a single parent. We have all that stress and uncertainty. Deployments are usually a year long. And so that's a long time to feel like you're doing it all on your own, on top of everything else, on top of, we all have our issues and traumas before we go through, deployments. And then you have all of that, and then your spouse comes home and they're different than the person that you remember. And so, so both of them are here with us tonight. They're the stars of the One Final Mission documentary. So Bethany and Josh, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim.
Hi,
everyone.
Thank you for having us. It's good to be here, really. You say left behind or get forgot about spouses. The reality is she is my hero, and truly, the strength to be able to continue to motivate and continue to push. So truly a blessing. Thank you. But actually, we just came up on 1 year mark of the first time we actually started talking with Tim about smoking. And after, decades of being chained to the cigarettes and separating myself, a year of no smoking. So we celebrate, yay. But and during that process, it was like it just happened so naturally, after talking with him. And then the more that we communicated, Tim was telling us, that of how he can help and how, we can upgrade beliefs. And I've been in talk therapy since 2004. And it was just always revisiting this trauma and feeling bad. And, the day after, and, even several days would still feel bad. And he said, we can help, we can upgrade the beliefs, we can get you feeling better so you can actually live life and help. And so, we talked about it, and both of us went through it. It's just so powerful and just so life-changing. And, his knowledge and ability to just help, with that generous heart and love is amazing. And, since we've done that, we just keep finding more and more, our paths were crossing, and we were talking, and, how do I learn this? How can you teach me? And that's where it started. And we started down this journey of just, him sharing his knowledge and, being able to express that and
pay it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward, really. And it's been a true blessing, the way we think, upgrading our beliefs, the tools that we have to help people along this journey of healing, the One Final Mission and teaming up. it's perfect because, in this day and age, it's, medication or taking more medication, or, really people think that they're, out on their own, and this one final mission is showing that we are a team and we are strong. I've spent 21 years in the military, and I'm always teaching guys how to effectively, move on the enemy, and and move long distances and carry heavy weights, their rucksacks, and just exhausting over all kinds of terrain. And then by the time they get there, they're exhausted, but then it's time to fight. And you train like this and you train like this so that when it actually happens, it's like muscle memory and it can just naturally happen. But then you come back and the dust settles and you start to think about and process what actually happened. And, I really missed the part, because while you're there and while you're doing this and you're actively serving, like you are never alone. Like you are always with these other service members with you. And then you come back and you're home and you're supposed to be safe. And you're just, like you said, trapped in this prison in your mind, carrying this heavy weight still for no apparent reason. And then it starts chipping away at your self-worth, and, going to constant counseling and revisiting and just trying to process. It takes away from being able to enjoy freedoms. And, it's an invisible wound that a lot of people can't see because of how trained these service members are to walk around with a mask that is a smile that is covering up their true feelings, especially in front of people. And it's tragedy. 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and this has got to stop. And what we're doing, creating an army of healers, is so powerful because together we are so strong. And the one final mission, and it's amazing. And it's truly a blessing, and very grateful for everything that, Tim, that you've taught us and showed us. And we continue to share the message and share the dream.
That's outstanding. Bethany, you want to add anything to that?
I just think that we're onto something really special here. And, you've made such a difference in our lives over the last year. I can never thank you enough for it. And so, our mission here to help veterans, really starts at home. And so, it's not just the veteran, like you said before, that goes through this. It's the veteran's family, it's the spouse, it's the children. And so the tools that you've given us that we've been able to implement in our home and to share with our kids, and, it's changed the dynamic of everything in our life. And so we just are eternally grateful to you. And we're just so grateful to be a part of this mission with you and to be sharing your message. And, for Josh to have this opportunity to learn side by side with you and just be able to pay this forward and make a difference in the lives of people the way that you've made a difference in our life is just really awesome. And we just can't thank you enough.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And Josh, 1 year anniversary. Whoo! That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
That is so good.
That's why I gotta, she says it a lot that I should celebrate these things more openly. And I'm working on that and trying to, celebrate wins. So yay. Woohoo.
That's a big one. That's where it all started. That's how we found you, and right. So you've just changed everything for us starting there. I mean, that one thing alone is life-changing, and everything that we've been able to do with you since then is just, it's mind-blowing.
Well, yes, it is. It is, like what you said, in a way, mind-blowing, because we're blowing out these old fears and these old limitations of what we think is possible, right? And so a lot of times people will come to me and they start out with one goal, not the most important one, but a goal, kind of like as a test. Like I think I'm skeptical, I'm resistant, this might be BS, but let's find out, you help me stop smoking, you help me lose a little bit of weight or something. And then we do it and you're like, whoa, wait a second. I wasn't expecting that to work. All right, well, what's possible now? And so then it opens the doors to new opportunities, and then we just run with it. So, and it doesn't matter, what brought you here, right? So, maybe you're thinking, well, I haven't been through those kinds of traumas like Josh went through, but, I've had my hurts and my wounds. Or maybe you're thinking, you know what, I've had a pretty good life actually, but I'm just looking for ways to take it to the next level. This is certainly it. And so, so that's very exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through, I want to be mindful of our time. I'm going to take you through this quick experience. I've been thinking about which one to take you through. And I'm going to take you through an experience that is what I call the clearing, because it's a way of clearing out obstacles to our path. So I'm going to take you through this clearing experience. And what you're going to do is you're just going to sit back and you're going to close your eyes so that we can activate your imagination, right? There's an old expression that says, when you learn to go within, you never go without. And so I'm going to invite you to go within. I'm going to take you on this little 15-minute adventure and help you feel amazing afterwards. And then we'll go from there. So, and I'm seeing by all the little faces in there, Letty, did you get your hair cut? You look so pretty. Hi, Aurora. All right. So, okay. All right. Then let's go ahead and do this. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes and take a couple slow power breaths in. Breathe in through your nose, down to your belly, down to the bottom of your lungs, and then slowly exhale. As you breathe in, you may notice the air feels cool when you breathe in, and the air feels cool when you breathe out. So let's pretend that you're breathing in the peace and you're breathing out tension. And you just keep doing that the whole session so that you feel more refreshed, more rejuvenated, and more at ease. By the time our experience is through, you're going to find yourself feeling more peaceful and at ease. So if you're just joining us, we're doing a little meditation. Go ahead and sit back, close your eyes, focus on breathing in through your nose, down to your belly, slowly exhaling. And then I want you to imagine that as you breathe that oxygen into your body, it moves into the center of your body and turns all the lights on inside, making everything feel open, safe, warm, peaceful, and at ease. Imagine that sunshine, that healing energy, that oxygen flows through every cell of your body, recharging you through this session so that afterwards you feel pretty amazing. In fact, I want you to imagine that that healing energy begins to shine so brightly that it moves through the pores of your skin and surrounds you in this beautiful protective force field of light. Imagine this beautiful force field of energy wrapping around you, making you feel safe and at ease. And you take this protective light with you, this energy, everywhere you go. It locks in all the peaceful feelings and it makes you believe in yourself, and it allows you to show up and make bold decisions and play to win in life so that you are always growing forward. And then it also protects you from any outside negative influences so that you feel more calm and at ease in situations where you might have felt upset or worried or stressed. Now you find yourself in those same situations, and there's like this voice in your mind that's saying, you got this, you are safe, you're going to be just fine. Let's go for it. Let's find out. Let's learn. Where's the opportunity in this situation? What if it goes wrong? What if it goes right? What if this is the moment that you've been waiting for? What if this door opens those other doors of opportunity that you've been praying for? And so whenever you want to feel more calm and at ease, you just take 5 slow power breaths in through your nose, down to your belly, slowly exhaling, and then you focus your attention on what you want and imagine already having it and how amazing that will feel. And then you take an action, some kind of bold action that moves you in that direction. that gives you that freedom and peace and prosperity that you desire. Now, I want you to pretend that we're all going to take a little mini vacation together. I want you to imagine that beautiful light that surrounds you, we turn it up really bright just for a moment, so bright you can't even see, like walking outside on a really bright summer's day. And then the light dims down and you imagine finding yourself standing on top of a tall, green, grassy hill. And as you're standing on top of this tall, green, grassy hill, I want you to imagine that there's this little path that goes down the hill into the valley. As you look around, whether you picture this in your mind or you just talk yourself through it or you just get a feeling, however you imagine it will be just fine. But I want you to imagine that you're looking around and it's like you're in Ireland with all these beautiful green hills and rolling hills and valleys and all this lush green grass. It just fills you with prosperity and healing wellness. And as you follow your eyes down the path and into the valley, I want you to imagine that halfway through the valley, there's a wall that cuts across the path that would prevent you from getting to the other side. Now, up on top of this hill, that wall looks small and tiny because whenever you have perspective, our problems and obstacles are smaller. They'll always be smaller than you because you are a pretty big deal. You are a powerful force. So you begin to move down that path, down the hill, towards that wall, because there is a treasure for you on the other side of that wall. There is something that you've been wanting, a feeling, some kind of emotion, more confidence, more motivation, more focus, whatever it may be, more self-belief. Maybe there is some kind of material possession that you've been wanting. More money or more prosperity or a promotion or a wonderful client or something else that would really make you feel excited. Maybe there's a health goal or wellness and vitality. And it's just waiting for you, just kind of vibrating and pulsating on the other side of that wall. But the closer you get up to that wall, the more you realize that it looks pretty big. It looks pretty scary. It looks a little foreboding because isn't that how our problems show up? Isn't that what anxiety is all about? This fear that I'm not safe, that I'm not going to be able to handle it, that I'm not going to be good enough for whatever reason to be able to figure this out. And then what does that mean? I'll be alone. I'll be abandoned. I'll run out of time. I'll run out of money. I'll run out of love. I won't mean anything. People will be right that I was just a loser the whole time. That's what our walls and obstacles want us to believe. You walk up to that wall and it's way over your head and it runs as far to the left and the right as you can see. And it might be made out of big bricks or stone or rock. It's rough or cold to the touch. It looks scary. Maybe there's spikes coming out of it. It looks really scary because that's what it wants you to believe. Now, most people would turn and run away from their goals and dreams. Others would just sit down and feel angry or resentful or sorry for themselves, but not you. Not you, not us, not together. So you start taking those power breaths. You start breathing in through your nose, down to your belly, slowly exhaling. In your mind, imagine looking up. You look up to the sky, to possibilities. What's possible for me here? Where's the creative opportunity in this situation? Not can I get to the other side, but how am I going to? And I want you to get creative with your imagination. Maybe you imagine borrowing a big tunnel driller and you drill a big tunnel underneath the wall and come out on the other side. Or maybe MIT has invented some kind of teleportation device like Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty. And you just imagine teleporting from one side of the wall to the other. Or maybe you have a 1,000 helium balloons all tied together with one big string, and it drops down and you grab a hold of that string and it lifts you up and carries you over the wall like you're Mary Poppins in a Disney movie. Whatever works for you. Maybe you find a magic door. You've got the keys in your pocket to set yourself free. So imagine yourself getting to the other side of that wall now. As you find yourself now standing on the other side of the wall, imagine your treasure is here. Those who have the courage to go after their dreams are the ones that get them. It might take longer than you think it should, but it's still worthy, and you still end up growing into the person that you were born to be, regardless of the goals that you achieve. Your goals are there so that you have a reason to grow. It creates the path so that you can reach your fullest potential, because that's the real gift. So now all of a sudden, imagine that ball of energy that is the emotion, the prosperity, the confidence, the material wealth, the relationships, the self-esteem. Imagine it's a beautiful radiating ball of energy, and you step into it and you embrace it. You breathe it into your being. It's just radiating in all the cells of your body, saturating you with this peace and joy and happiness and health and prosperity and abundance. And it feels good. Maybe there's a full-length mirror and you are able to see your future you. And you look amazing, strong, healthy, happy, confident. Boy, that smile on your face is huge, because you're living life on your terms. You're staring fear in the face and saying, I'm doing it anyway. It's my favorite poem. Fate stares at the warrior and says, a storm's a-coming, and you cannot withstand this storm. And the warrior smiles back and says, ha, I am the storm. We are the storm. We are the power. And that's when you turn back and you see the wall from this side of it. And when you see the wall from this side of it, when you look at the problem after you've already solved it, when you look at the situation after you've already grown and figured out how to get through it, above it, or around it, it looks different. That wall doesn't look big and scary. It looks like it's made out of paper mache. It looks like a sheet of plywall propped up by 2x4s, like a scene you might see in the back of a theater. You could push it right over. Whoa. Now that's the gift. That's the gift, knowing that your problems, your walls, your obstacles are illusions in disguise. They're opportunities. Those blocks are really stepping stones designed to allow you to step over them so that you can see higher and farther than you could before. This is huge, knowing this. And that's the best gift of all. So now you retain this wisdom, because now you know. Once you know, you know. It's like learning a magic trick. You can't go back to not knowing. You now know the trick. And now you know the trick around fear. It's an illusion. It's testing you to see what you're going to do next. So I want you to imagine getting yourself back to the other side of the wall, the side where you first started. So go ahead and get yourself back there any way you want to. And then imagine staring at that wall the way you saw it originally, and it looks big and scary again. Maybe it looks foreboding again. Maybe it looks like, oh my gosh. But now you have the wisdom. You remind yourself, wait a second, that's not what it's made of, though. That's not what it looks like on the other side. It might show up all big and scary and insurmountable, but I am more powerful. And that's when you just lean in. You believe in yourself. You take a stand for yourself, for others, and for your dreams. You march up to that wall and you shove it right over, or you hit it with a big mallet, or you launch a rocket at it and that wall falls over and crumbles into a million little pieces. So it's just a little pile now. And then you imagine climbing up on top of that pile and standing on top of the pile and throwing your arms in the air in a sign of victory. Yeah. Yay me. Feeling proud of yourself and patting yourself on the back, giving yourself a hug. That's decent. It's good to do. It's important that we do it. And now you can see so much farther down the road than you could before. That big, scary problem, that wall, has now become a stepping stone that has made you more powerful. And now your path is clear, and you go down the other side and you soak in your rewards and your treasures for having courage and bravery once more, which fills you with a sense of pride and confidence and gratitude for having the courage and wisdom to show up and go through this. And then you continue down this path because that's what we do. Knowing well that there's going to be more walls, more obstacles, more challenges. But now you know they're not there to make your life terrible. They're there to help you grow. Because we wouldn't grow without the adversity. It's the challenge that causes us to reach in and become a better version of ourselves. So where you resist, you now must persist. You actively go to those places where you are resisting, because those are where your breakthroughs are hiding. Those are where your walls are. We charge towards those now. Do you need help and support in getting over them? Sometimes, yes. A lot of times, yes. Most of the time, yes. That's true for all of us. It's hard to see your own blind spots sometimes. But you can still do it. And every day in every way, you feel stronger and more confident and more prepared. And then you imagine that beautiful light surround you once more, locking in all of these new treasures and resources. That sunshine begins to shine so brightly that just for a few moments you can't even see. And then it dims back down. And as it dims back down, you suddenly find yourself back in your room. But you now have all of this wisdom with you. You've brought all of the awareness, all of the insights, and all of these resources and wonderful feelings with you. And in a moment, I'm going to count to 5. And when I say 5, you'll open your eyes. You're going to begin the next chapter of your life with this wisdom in place. Beginning with the count of 1, as you start to come up, take that full power breath in, feeling good. 2, coming up more, feeling healthy and strong. 3, finding that you're going to be in the best mood ever. And when you go to bed tonight and you wake up in the morning, you're going to feel like you got this. 4, almost all the way there. And then slowly, gently, with the count of 5, opening your eyes, feeling awesome in each and every wonderful way. Great job. Woohoo! All right. Very good, very good. Awesome. All right, welcome back, welcome back. You might be feeling a tad sleepy right now. I saw the yawning and everything. That's all the tension coming out of you so that your body can recharge back up, which is great. So very good, very good. So that's a tiny little sample of what you would experience going through the One Final Mission seminar. Now, of course, that was fun and relaxing and inspiring. But these sessions, the awakening experience, the releasing experience, they are powerful. I mean, they are heavy duty. They are designed to go in there and really crank up your potential and get rid of all that head trash that might be holding you back, and then install a new set of beliefs and feelings and habits that you'll have for the whole rest of your life. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly tell you about the program that's coming up on August 11th, and then I'll open up for any questions, and you can share experiences that you had, or you can ask any questions for me or for Bethany or Josh about what's coming up. So feel free to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick so that we can do this here. All right. So on August 11th, we start from 7 to 8:30. They're 90-minute seminars. We're going to do one a week for 4 weeks in a row. So we'll go August 11th and whatever day that is, and then we'll go that week every week, same day, same evenings from August 11th, probably through the first week of September. And we're going to do a Zoom group coaching experience. And you're going to get, these are all the recap of everything you get. So we're going to do 4 weekly 90-minute live group coaching experiences with me. And it's going to be awesome. You are going to have just such amazing breakthroughs and amazing experiences. And, you know, if you read all the hundreds of testimonials that people have given me over the years for the work that I do, they're not saying, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, this was really great. You'll have a good time. They're saying this changed my life. You know, and for you to be able to have an experience that changes your life, you know, try to get as many of those as you can, because they don't come around very often. In addition to the live coaching programs, I want to give you reinforcement in between our sessions so that you are working on yourself for that full 30 days. So I'm going to give you several of my best hypnosis audio programs, my brain training programs. You can listen to them anytime. A lot of my clients, we call it lay and play. You lay down, you push play, and you go to sleep at night. Oops, turned my flashlight on. And so there's no faster, easier way. A lot of my clients say, I want an easy button. Well, there's no easier way than to push play and let me train your brain for you. You go to sleep, you sleep better, you wake up in the morning feeling amazing. I mean, it's awesome, right? So I'm going to give you incredible self-esteem. Everybody should be given a copy of that program at birth. I've given out tens of thousands of those copies of that program because it really makes us love ourselves and accept ourselves and helps us become our own best cheerleader. So many people have been taught that that's wrong and that you shouldn't do that. And that belief is terrible. That is a very false, damaging belief. So we need to be our own best friend and our own biggest fan. Okay. So I'm going to give you powerful, positive thinking that makes you think like a superstar. I'm going to give you stress reliever because we all got it. And so it just gets rid of it. And then sound sleep, because so many people have challenges turning their brain off at night because you lay down, you get safe, and then all the stuff starts coming up. And so this is a way of turning your mind off so that you can recharge your battery so you can get up and get at it the next day. I'm also going to give you some bonuses because I think that they're really going to help you in your journey. So one of them, I wrote the book, One Belief Away, and then I asked Joe Vitale to do some interviews with me so I could gain a little bit more of wisdom from him and some of his best strategies. You know, he's been a law of attraction guru and a prosperity guru and a best-selling author for a long, long time, star of the hit movie, The Secret. And and something else that's happening, but I almost said something I'm not supposed to, so I'm glad that didn't come out. So, but anyway, some more exciting things happening in the future. And anyway, so I had him write this book with me, and then we did a bunch of workshops and interviews, and one of them we called it the One Belief Away workshop. And Joe and I really dug deep into what happens and why is it that everybody else is having all this success and I'm not. Right? I'm smarter than those other people. How come they have all of this and that and I don't? And that's the topic that we covered. Right. So I'm going to give you a recording of that workshop. That was awesome. I'm going to give you the audiobook version of The Cure for Self-Sabotage. Sitting in front of thousands of clients for 27 years, you learn a lot about how people talk to themselves. And I started noticing that there is 10 very specific self-sabotages that everybody does because we're not taught any different about how to use our mind. We're like the computer programmer for our brain, but we don't know any of the codes. And so we end up sabotaging ourselves. And so I'm going to give you the sabotages and then I'm going to turn them upside down, and it'll be 10 of the most powerful ways that you can use the power of your mind to create your life by design. I've used it to go from rags to riches, right? From not knowing what I was going to do in life to hanging out with some of the most amazing, legendary people on the planet, you know, people that have become friends like the late Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Dennis Waitley, you know, some real legends. So yeah, that's enough. My brain starts wanting to name drop, and that's not what that's not what I want to do. The point is that, you know, I met people and became friends with people that I thought there's no way, like even Joe Vitale, there's no way that those people would even want to talk to me because I felt small and insignificant. And now we're like pals, right? So this is about getting rid of self-sabotage and changing your mindset. I want to give you the audiobook version of it because there's a book, but I want to give you the audiobook because I give you lots of extra insights and stories. And then the third one is we're going to record all our sessions, which is huge, and then give you the replays. It kind of feels like a standard thing, but that's huge because if you miss a session, no big deal. You can catch back up. You can go through them over and over. These sessions are priceless. You can go through them over and over and over again. And every time you have a new experience, a new breakthrough, a new understanding that just keeps you, you know, taking it to that next level, which is amazing. So people that are high performers and peak performers and high achievers, they love this stuff, right? So if that's you, you're going to love it too. I've got an on-the-spot guarantee, you know, so everybody likes that safety net. So if you go through the very first session and you're like, this is not for me, then I'll just refund you, right? No questions asked. because that probably means that you're an alien and not from this planet. And that makes me a little nervous. And so we probably need to move you on. Okay. Because I've, maybe once in my whole career of taking people through this, did somebody say I didn't like it. Right. And so it just doesn't happen. But I want you to feel safe anyway. I mean, this is a program that helps people with anxiety. So a lot of people have anxiety around money. The whole time you've probably been sitting there going, well, how much is it? Well, how much is it? Can I afford this? Oh my God, what if this is $10,000? And, I'm going to be so mad. But it's not. And, so this hopefully makes you feel secure. I'm taking all the risk. Priceless opportunity, because when you do this, it doesn't just impact you, it impacts your family as well. You'll notice that I didn't just have Josh on, I had Bethany on as well, because we need to realize that what we're going through impacts our marriage. It impacts how we show up as a parent, as a grandparent, as a neighbor, as a citizen, as a community leader, in our business, with our coworkers, with our employees. Your unconscious programming influences everything. And so when you go up, so does everybody around you, which is awesome. And of course, this is the best one that I think is really great. Your spouse can go through this for free if you enroll tonight, right? Which I think is awesome, right? So if you enroll right now, you can bring a spouse with you. They have to be in the same household and they got to do it with you at the same time. But then that way you can have a shared experience, because I've worked with many couples over the years, and couples either sabotage themselves or they support themselves and win at a higher level. So if we do this together, you'll win at a higher level. Bethany and Josh both said that they went through this program and it was way more impactful than if just Josh went through it, right? Or if Bethany just went through it. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and do it this way. So it's an incredible value. The investment for the program, I don't have it on here. It's $9.97. So I guess I should have to add that. So it is $9.97 for the program. So just under $1,000 to get all of that and go through all of that. Amazing, right? Totally awesome. And you get all of this great stuff. And so you won't find a program anywhere that charges $10,000. I don't care if they charge $100,000. You are not going to have the experiences there that you will hear, because I've been through those programs and they just aren't doing this, and what we can get done in 4 hours, they're taking days and 36 hours, 12-hour days to do. And you'll feel awesome and high and in a trance, but you still will come home with those core limiting beliefs. And we're going to shift that. We're going to change that, right? And it changes the game. So besides, I always tell everybody, if your refrigerator went out, what would you do? You'd go get another one. Have you checked the price of refrigerators lately? They're like $2,000 to $4,000 to get a refrigerator, right? So you would spend more on a refrigerator than you for your whole life. So obviously we have priced this incredibly low because we're on a mission. We are trying to get to as many people as we can so that we can end needless emotional suffering. And that's what we're going to do. And so if you're ready to join us, awesome, because one, it will help you. And then two, your example will then, you'll be a part of our army of healers who will then enroll others to come into this. And you won't have to go find others. They're going to be like, why are you so happy? What are you smoking? I'm smoking hypnosis and the one belief away method. Right. And then some of you, I guess about 10% of the people that go through this program, the thousands of people that'll go through this program, 10% will end up going through our OBA hypnosis certification. I'm doing it all online to cut down on cost and everything else. So our next one's going to be in the middle of September. And then I'll teach you how to be a miracle worker and how to create magic for, anybody that crosses your path. So pretty awesome stuff, huge opportunities, and at a really amazing price. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up now. The link for how to enroll is in the chat. So you can find that link, click on it. I see some of you already getting in. That's awesome. Enroll, and then it's going to be awesome. If you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself, ask away, and then we'll wrap this up for this evening. Any questions? You can just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Tim, I just want to say that is a tremendous value. All those recordings and to allow the spouse to go through the program with them for free. That's really great.
That's amazing. you know, doing it together really impacts. And like she said, you know, around our house and with our kids, and that's amazing.
It's a full entourage effect. It, you know, ripples down for sure. So that's a really great bonus.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know, our goal, and a lot of times veterans aren't rolling in the cash, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we made it accessible. I personally I'm sure I've spent probably $100,000 on personal development, seminars, coaching, you know, all the excursions I've gone through, all the books and training programs and everything that I've invested in over the years, easily 6 figures, because it was worth it. And so, you know, when I hear $1,000, I'm like, oh my gosh, but you know, it's what's called an irresistible offer, right? It's irresistible. If you're passing up this, you just don't like to be happy, right? You don't like money. You don't like, having health and energy and relationships. That's not your thing, right? Anybody else, they're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because it's a pretty amazing deal, but that's why we're doing it. We're on a mission. You know, we're wanting to, you know, I could have taken a handful of people through this and charged them $10,000, but instead we lower the fee so we can reach as many people as possible, so that we can create a real difference in the world. You know, everybody says, I want to change the world, but I think that we actually can, by getting this type of techniques and these strategies to as many people as possible, so that we can break the problem. Is what we have is this low emotional intelligence, and we have these unconscious beliefs that sabotage us our whole lives, and then we pass them down to our kids, and then our kids start with those beliefs and they try to get a little bit better, but they end up still having those beliefs, and then we pass them on to our grandkids, and it just keeps getting passed through the timeline. And so we have the ability to break that, you know, and do something different and show up in a different way. And I think that's huge. And then, of course, as Josh said, you know, 22 veterans die every day from intentional and unintentional suicide. And so we need to stop that as well. That's not fair to the people who, you know, are putting their butts on the line for us. So we're going to do something about that. I mean, how many veterans live in this country alone? I mean, millions, right? So I talk to veterans every day that, you know, we're in all kinds of different war. I was just talking to a Vietnam veteran the other day, and he was talking about how, you know, we've come a long way in how we treat our veterans, because he had some pretty horrible experiences when he got home from war.
Well, I think you're amazing, and I've seen you in action, and I met you last year on a Zoom where there was 150 people from around the world, and it was transformational. And I think that people don't realize how amazing you are, and you're so giving, and I've never met anybody like you. And then what you're doing for veterans as a veteran mom, it's just so beautiful and incredible. So I want to say thank you, Tim. I know you're going to do amazing things. I just want to be in your world, because I think you are so critical for healing. And the biggest problem in life is people say they don't know who to go to, right? And you're right here. So we just, you know, if I have any requests from everybody on here, it's like, let's keep sharing Tim's name and what Tim is doing, so that we can support him and not just get what we can so we can heal, but can we share him with the rest of the world? So that's what I wanted to share.
Well, thank you, Letty. I mean, that is so sweet of you. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. And wow. So that was very nice of you. I really appreciate that. You know, I am successful because of the people that I hang around with, and hanging around you, Letty, and hanging around Josh and Bethany and Shazia and all these amazing people is what makes me shine, right? Zig Ziglar, I remember I met Zig, and just such an amazing guy, right? Such an amazing, really classy guy. Because there's a lot of speakers out there that when you meet them, you know, they say, don't meet your heroes, you know, and you meet them, and then afterwards you hang out with them afterwards, and you're like, this person's a train wreck. You know, they're not acting anything like they are when they're on stage. They're not using any of their own stuff. Right. And so, but Zig was the real deal, and made me feel really special. And so, you know, and he always says that if you just help enough other people get to where they're going, they will help you get to where you're going. And so, that really, Letty, you are proof of that, by saying that. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
And one more thing I forgot to say to everybody, I wanted to thank Tim in front of all of you. Tim did an amazing thing for some Latina veterans. And we did a one-on-one session with him, like a roundtable. It was really impactful for them. And Tim, you and I will talk later on because you asked me a question recently, but they were so in shock that he would take the time out of his schedule to make time for them, let alone create such a program. And, I think sometimes we just forget about vets, and we forget even the active duties that are hurting within the war could be within the walls of that particular agency. And then we forget the families, the ecosystem, like Bethany was saying. So I just want to thank you again for taking time for them, and just your continued drive on veterans, because it's so needed and no one's fighting for them in such a way, this way. So I want to thank you.
Yeah, it is a sincere pleasure. So yeah, and I like that. And so, I needed someone tough and strong to help me with this battle. And one of those people, is Josh Kemp. And so he's right there next to me, and we are kicking butt. And, Bethany's right on the other side. She's kicking butt with me too. And, and with you, Letty, and with those other Latino veterans, and we just keep building the Army. I mean, the list of connections that I'm creating, and the list of generals and admirals and people that I'm starting to connect with, and some real heavy hitters out there, is really exciting. And then Kat Michelle, with her Inspired Success magazine, she's going to, I don't know where, it's right in front of me. She's going to do a whole issue in November just for veterans, which, I was pitching that to her, and she said she loved that idea. She lives in Hawaii. She comes from a family of veterans, and it's going to be off the hook. Right. And so now my job is I'm recruiting veterans and telling their stories, and finding people who have really great platforms so that we can roll this out in a really huge way. So, I'm a mountain mover. I like to go after big goals, because I played small for so long that I don't want to kick over small goals anymore. I want to go be a planet mover. And as Josh would say, we're doing it, it's happening. And so we are, the more of us that are spreading the word, because I can't do this by myself. There's no way, it's too overwhelming. And so, my family doesn't see me enough as it is, because I'm so driven with this mission. So I need every one of your help. And again, the best way to go through it is to go through the experience. And then you'll have your own stories, and then those stories will enroll other people into having the courage to do this. And then that will enroll them into wanting to enlist other people into this one final mission and being a part of our army of healers. And that's how we're going to really roll it out. So anyway, that if you have connections, if you have opportunities for me to be able to speak at different places, because this is what I'm talking about. So if you have organizations, if you have associations that have speakers, if you are connected with your company in some way, hit me up and let's talk and let's see what's possible, because everybody has something to offer. And if we all do it together, we're going to make big things happen in this world. So you'll be a part of a really valuable mission.